In the latest episode of Moonshiners on the Discovery Channel, veteran distillers Mark Ramsey and Diva Maines are concerned about increased law enforcement scrutiny and have taken a bold step to safeguard their clandestine operations. The duo has enlisted Mark's wife, Sally, as a new team member, leveraging the legal principle that a spouse cannot be compelled to testify against their partner. New to the art of distillation, Sally embarks on creating her rendition of cinnamon-infused liquor. Under Mark's guidance, she navigates the complexities of the process. Her initial attempt produces a harsh-tasting product, prompting the team to innovate. Get updates on the latest posts and more from monsters and critics straight to your inbox. By submitting your information, you agree to our T&CS and privacy policy. They decide to incorporate soaked wood chips to mellow the flavor. After allowing the mixture to age for several days, the liquor attains a rich whiskey hue, and Sally successfully produces her first batch of cinnamon shine. Encouraged by this success, the trio procures additional corn, sugar, and cinnamon sticks to ramp up production. However, their operations face potential threats. A stranger approaches Mark and Digger, inquiring about purchasing moonshine. Adhering to their rule of not selling to unfamiliar individuals, they deny involvement in liquor sales, maintaining their cautious approach to avoid legal entanglements. Mark and Digger remain vigilant as the season progresses, especially after a recent encounter with an unmarked black truck that heightened their concerns about law enforcement surveillance. Their decision to involve Sally brings fresh perspectives to their craft and helps their operation remain elusive. Meanwhile, fellow Moonshiners Tickle and the Laws seize an opportunity with a field of free sorghum seeds. Traditionally, Moonshiners utilize sorghum stalks due to their high sugar content. However, Henry recalls advice from a seasoned distiller, suggesting that the seeds can also be fermented to produce liquor. The team decides to experiment with the seeds, drying and crushing them before adding sugar to facilitate fermentation. The drying process poses a challenge due to the damp conditions of the fall season. Demonstrating resourcefulness, they construct a greenhouse-like structure equipped with a heater to expedite drying. They opt for a manual mill to grind the seeds slowly to prevent imparting a smoky flavor. Once ground, the sorghum seeds are mashed, setting the stage for a unique batch of moonshine. Viewers will have to tune in next week to find out if they successfully created the liquor and if Mark and Digger can remain one step ahead of law enforcement. Moonshiners airs Tuesdays at 9/8 on Discovery. Moonshiners Season 14, Episode 12. Mark and Digger introduce a new team member to evade the law. The episode begins with a sweeping aerial shot of the dense Appalachian Mountains, the mist rising from the forest floor as the sun begins to set. The scene cuts to Mark and Digger, two of the most renowned moonshiners in the region, standing by their trusty copper still. The camera zooms in on the men, both wearing their signature outfits, Mark in a weathered denim jacket and Digger in a plaid shirt, both with worn-in jeans and boots. The air is thick with the sounds of chirping crickets and rustling leaves. Mark, wiping sweat from his brow, turns to Digger, who's meticulously adjusting the still's temperature. Mark, "You know, Digger, I've been thinking. We've been running this moonshine game for a long time now, and we've got to start getting smarter about how we do it. The law's getting tighter around here every year." Digger, "Tell me something I don't know, Mark. I've been feeling the pressure too. It's only a matter of time before we get a visit from the revenuers, if we're not careful." Mark, "That's why I've been looking into bringing in some help. A new set of hands, someone who can handle things when we're not around. Someone who can think on their feet." Digger looks at Mark, intrigued. "Digger, you got someone in mind, Mark?" "Actually, yeah. His name's Billy. He's got experience with the law, knows how to stay under the radar. And he's got the right skills for the job. I think he fit in just fine. The camera zooms out, showing the two men standing over there still, their faces serious as the weight of the conversation sets in. Cut to Billy's introduction later that evening. The sun dipping lower in the sky. Mark and Digger pull up to a rundown cabin nestled near the edge of a creek. Billy, a tall, lean man in his early 30s with short cropped hair and a rough, rugged appearance, stands waiting on the porch, leaning against a wooden post. He gives a small wave as Mark and Digger approach. Mark, this is Billy. He's the man I was telling you about. Billy gives Digger a firm handshake. Billy, heard a lot about you too. I'm ready to get to work. Digger eyes Billy up and down, sizing. Ready for this? The moonshine business isn't like the law. It's got a lot of risks. Billy nods with confidence. Billy, I've been around the block, Digger. I know how to avoid trouble when it's coming, and I know how to make it out clean when things get hot. I'm not here to make a mess. Mark smiles, clearly pleased with Billy's response. Mark, that's exactly what we need. Welcome to the team, Billy. The first test, a new route the next day, the trio heads out to a remote location in the mountains where they set up a new still. This location is far off the beaten path, but it still comes with its risks, mostly from the law. Mark, Digger, and Billy stand at the site, surveying the area with sharp eyes. Mark, all right, here's the plan. Billy, you're gonna help us lay down some fake trails around the site. We need to make it look like no one's been here. We can't afford any slips now, not with the revenuers closing in. Billy nods and begins setting up the fake trails with ease, expertly moving through the trees and rocks as Mark and Digger watch closely. Digger, man, this is something else. It's like you've done this before. Billy, you could say I've had my run-ins with the law, learned a few tricks. The key is to stay a step ahead. With the fake trails set, the trio gets to work on the still. The air is thick with the smell of fermenting corn mash and the sound of the still hissing as it slowly heats up. Mark and Digger are in their element, but Billy stays quiet, moving between them, learning the ropes. As the night falls, Mark and Digger light a campfire near the site, keeping watch while the mash continues to heat up. Billy sits on a rock, scanning the horizon. He occasionally shifts his gaze toward the distant sounds of the forest, alert to any disturbance. Billy, you know, guys, I've been thinking. We should probably set up a lookout post higher up the mountain, somewhere we can see anyone coming from a mile away. If we get a heads up, we can pack up and disappear before the law gets within range. Mark and Digger exchange a look, impressed. Mark, that's a dang good idea, Billy. We'll get on it tomorrow. It's that kind of thinking we need. A close call. The law arrives the next day as the sun begins to rise. The still is operating at full steam. Everything seems to be going according to plan. However, the tranquility of the morning is shattered by the distant sound of a car engine winding through the mountain roads. Digger. That doesn't sound good. Billy immediately springs into action, his eyes narrowing as he scans the surroundings. Billy. It's probably just some hikers, but we can't take that chance. Mark, you and Digger get everything packed up. I'll go check it out. Billy takes off running toward the higher ground, moving with the precision of someone who knows how to handle a tense situation. Mark and Digger quickly gather their tools and supplies, preparing to make a quick getaway. From the top of the ridge, Billy watches the vehicle slowly make its way up the road, then stops. He can see the lawmen in their truck, the unmistakable insignia of the sheriff's department glinting in the sunlight. Billy takes a deep breath and pulls out his phone, sending a quick text to Mark. "We got company. Time to disappear." Back at the still, Mark's eyes widen as he reads the message. Without hesitation, he grabs a shovel and begins to cover the still with dirt and leaves, while Digger gathers the rest of the equipment. Mark: "Billy's right. We can't mess around. Let's get moving." The trio moves like a well-oiled machine, their years of experience in evading the law coming into play. Mark and Digger move the mash, while Billy ensures that the trails are covered and everything is hidden. As they finish packing up, the sound of the sheriff's truck grows louder and the adrenaline spikes. "Billy, we've got about 5 minutes before they hit this trail. Move." The team grabs the last of their supplies and begins a swift retreat through the woods, heading toward a secret path Billy knows well. The camera cuts between the fast-paced movement of the team and the slow approach of the lawmen, who are still unaware of the Moonshiners' presence. The team reaches a hidden cabin in the woods, far off the main road. They slip inside just as the sheriff's truck rounds the corner, slowly passing by the area where their still was located. From the windows, they can see the truck's headlights flash as it moves on. A collective sigh of relief escapes their lips. Digger: "I've got to admit, Billy, you were right on it." Billy, standing in the shadows of the cabin, gives a small smile. "Billy, it's all about knowing when to move and when to wait. You can't be too hasty. Stay calm, stay quiet, and let the law think they've won." Mark: "Well, I'd say we've got a good thing going. Welcome to the team." The camera fades out as the 3 men settle inside the cabin, the sound of the sheriff's truck fading in the distance. But they know the game.